All right, it seems that some people run a little late. Nonetheless, I would start. So first of all, that we can let you out on time and that we can find out about the legal aspects on time. Also regarding the afternoon ice cream that we have promised, the person helping you to scoop that will be arriving in around about 20 minutes or so. So we have plenty of that left. Will be around until the end, so don't worry if you haven't tried all the flavors yet. So that should work perfectly. What we want to, as last content part for the AI now, is looking at multimodal techniques. So what we learned up to this point was, of course, how to interact with text to text and text to image, image to image. Again, what we learned from the text to image is already text to any mode that we can imagine. So we can also use that to create code. We can use that to create videos. We can create audio with that. I showed you audio as audio already. There is something else which I forgot the name that does the same way. There is Runway ML that can create videos for you. So if you're looking for a short teaser video for what you want to do, this might be a way to go to have some first. So all of the videos that you see here are completely AI generated. Some things that might help you in there as well. So we can do that. The question now is, of course, we want to set things together. Building websites takes a long time, building slides takes a long time, building a lot of marketing material takes a long time. Thus, we want to work about multimodality. So, that is what that sums it up. So of course we don't want to have isolated things, but we want to use our capabilities even further and do from wireframing to product. We want to go from wireframe to website. We want to go from design to something usable. And what this basically means is that try to put this in your head for a short moment, where what all you get with the assistants that we were talking yesterday about. Basically every assistant is kind of a working student for you, or an intern that you have for free all the time, that can create plans, analyses, so many things in the boundaries, of course, that LLMs has. Now you have tools to generate infinite amounts of stock content that perfectly fit to your style that you want to convey. And with the multimodal tools, then you basically also have the designer and also the engineers that you have. So basically with the AI that we have as an entrepreneur, we supercharge ourselves with at least 10 times the productivity that we used to have, which is really, really outstanding. And if we combine that with smart ways of building prototypes, of generating first products, then we can go so much further than we would have anticipated when I started my first company in 2016. So 3 things I talk about. First, again, a little bit about tech stuff, and then it will be mostly applied what tools you can use and what you can do with those tools. Multimodality, first of all, what does it mean? It means a mode would be one kind of media that we work with. For example, what is multimodal? Multimodal would be in ChatGPT that you can upload an image. We were looking at this. You could upload an image here. And with this image, you could ask it, what do you see on this image? You could put in a PDF here. You could put in a presentation here. And the multimodality comes from different models that lie behind ChatGPT that allows it to work with those different media. Of course, it needs to understand the different kinds of media, so I'm not sure if you can upload a musical piece and it can describe the musical piece. What can work is that you can upload a video there and it can isolate the sound, and it can transcribe the sound, and it can summarize what has been said there. So ChatGPT, of course, and Gemini are the big players who support multimodality. What is definitely not multimodal in comparison is, of course, not Runway, is Midjourney. It is built for pictures and only pictures. So, what does that mean, for example? So, when we look at, for example, the Venture Labs, looking at the logo of the Venture Labs, so we can ask it we can give it our logo that we have at the Venture Labs and extract some information from that. For example, what color is it? What type of typography is it? Particularly in typography, it's still a little bit trying to convert everything to Arial or some of the more generic typefaces. Of course, it's not a designer, but it can ask that. You can give it a website and ask it, what do you see in this website? What are the elements? So if you just set our assistant to being an expert designer for corporate design, then we can give it, let it critique designs of websites that either we built to improve it, of websites that we aspire to and that we want to recreate a similar flair, or website of the competition, what are they doing well, what they not so well, how can we stand out? That is one multimodal thing that we can have. Another thing is, which now starts becoming cool, we can doodle something for ourselves, for example, for an artificial initiative that is not true or does not exist yet. We can just say, okay, this is AI Zeitgeist, an initiative that we wanted to found maybe. This might be a logo, and we can just upload this logo as a JPEG and give it first, of course, again, critique this, but then also, please, from this mock-up, create a design using DALL-E. Of course, ChatGPT only can use DALL-E. We could also try to upload something like this into Midjourney and say, try to create something from this as well. I don't know how much mileage you get on this, but might be something interesting. But if we just want to get a quick landing page that collects interest via email addresses, collecting email addresses, or if we want to have see if there's creating traffic via Google Ads, then this might be a nice thing to do. It can also, based on the critique of this logo, create a lot of copy on that. So, for example, this AI Zeitgeist, of course, would be a little bit more playful logo. So, what would be the storyline for the website? We can do that with a prompt like create a short brand narrative for the uploaded logo sketch, or another sketch we could do, another prompt we could do is please create a logo based on the sketch. One thing that I would be a little bit cautious about is that the left-hand side will be part of the logo prompt, so maybe just try to have the blank page with the thing you actually want to be in the prompt, and leave out the other things. Vision modality, this is something that is really amazing when you have to sum up a workshop. That's probably something that you have to do at some times. Of course, with non-confidential data, you can just upload the pictures of the summary of the workshop there, and it will completely extract the most important points. It can basically create the final document that you send out to the customer there completely. So in particular, if you're doing trainings, if you're doing consulting work, this is a real game changer, as you just take the doodles that you made in the workshop and have an extraction of all the data you need, you want, put this in some slide format, put this in some Word format, send it over to the customer, and they're usually super happy to have such a detailed summary, and on the level of detail, but also in the speed, because you can usually send this out 1 or 2 hours after the workshop ends. Why 1 or 2 hours? Because of course you need to check it if everything makes sense here. So one prompt that you could use here is look at the sketch note and create a very short summary. What was it about? Create a handout is another thing that you could do. And other things is, of course, you can work with data, like with JSON. First of all, that the output of GPT is usually in JSON format, so JSON is something that comes very natural to it. JSON Markdown and Python, I would say, is something where you get the best code. But you can just take the JSON, which you, for example, could get from a website if you don't want to work with the API. And just download the JSON that you get through the API, and say you are a German aviation lawyer and want to extract information from this document. And you can get this in exactly the form you want. You can get this way quicker than you would building against the API, or you can build your own API based on publicly available information. One project I did was the opposite way around. I crawled websites and asked the API, asked ChatGPT, the GPT API to get the data in a structured format, put this out in a JSON, and put the JSON into a database. It was way easier than building a very complicated web crawler where I needed to look at the HTML tags and all the stuff. So it did all the classification for me, and it was also very, very accurate. Here's another thing, another idea that you could use if you have some kind of physical product. Take your visuals and ask it to take the perspective of a persona. For example, you're Jörg, a student who might be a customer of my product. Please act as this persona and give me feedback on what you like about this product design, this product aesthetics, this design language. And it will do that. Of course, again, as we learned yesterday, it will set this persona in its context window, and think about similar designs, or what this context window would have said to similar designs, thus giving you an overview of what people might like in the design or not. Which also is a good exercise in general for thinking about when you create a visual appearance, that it's not about if you like this appearance or not, but if it caters to your target demography. Of course, you should still like it, but don't forget that it's not for you. You're not building aesthetics for you, but you're building it for somebody to use it. Okay. What are some tools that we can use for the editing and the designing? We've talked about some of these already. There's of course an Adobe product in this, Adobe Express. Again, I'm not the biggest user of Adobe. Something that I find super easy to use with a lot of AI capabilities that probably gets you quite far without having to know any photo and video editing skills is Canva, which is the Swiss pocket knife for basically everything you want to do in visual design for the early stages. As soon as you get a little later, then you probably want to get to a more professional tool. Adobe Firefly, we were already talking about this. This nice gentleman down here is Leonardo AI. That's the other open tool that generates images. And then let's quickly talk about Tome, because this is trying to solve one of the problems that all of us probably have that AI hasn't solved yet. So these AI supported image generators, basically where do they go in the AI pipeline is we have our content now, and now it's more about editing this content. So they can do things like editing images, removing the background, upscaling things, outpainting things. If we're going to things like Runway ML, adding movement to the picture. So you upload just one AI generated picture, put it to Runway, make a moving picture out of that. Go to udio.com, make a background sound to this, make background music to that AI base. Go to Canva, put the pictures together, make it a common style with AI, put the music to it, and you have an Instagram story in a couple of minutes with very professional looking AI generated content. Yes, question. Absolutely, that's absolutely true. So the question is there an AI for using AI tools, basically? Yes and no. So one thing that we briefly touched yesterday on, what we did not cover, which we will cover next time, is AI agents. The idea of AI agents is that you give it access to different tools, and then you say, okay, my goal now is to make a viral Instagram post. And it would go through all the tools that it needs. First of all, of course, it would make a plan, and then it accesses the API of Midjourney, of Runway, of maybe Canva, of other tools, and tries to do it itself. The results that you get are not really perfect. They are all quite of average. So I would not trust it too much. And once you want to have, I think the ice cream just arrived. And if you want to go it with another way, so this is also a little bit harder to set up, but if you say you have completely standardized things like every Monday you want to make a LinkedIn post, might be something that you want to do, then there are tools that let you do this. For example, make.com, it's a very straightforward tool, which we will learn also in the prototyping microclass, that basically allows you to connect steps, where you just say, every Monday, do first this, then create an image, then create a text, then put it to LinkedIn, and put it also in a database or something like this. So you can automate, in particular, very standardized things very efficiently with things like Canva, with things like Zapier. I use that quite extensively. Antoine notices that I try to automate everything, which in parts is true because I don't have the time to do everything manually. So yeah, you can connect them. However, it's a little bit trickier with those image editing things. I'm not sure if Canva, for example, has an API, so you have to build this yourself. They might have an API, but I'm not sure. Okay, Adobe and Canva and Adobe Express. So as far as I know, that for Adobe Express you don't even need the Creative Cloud, which is a huge selling argument, and they are the easy to use tools. So when you get started, when you have a new project that you just want to try out, then this is definitely one thing you want to use. When you have a product that you want to try out, or the other things, or the sales, marketing, and product things, we will learn in the prototyping microclass, but those are probably tools that you want to do, because in the early beginning, of course, you don't want to have a too steep learning curve and don't want to learn Photoshop from scratch. So these might get you where you want to go. Of course, to the cost of being somewhat limited. So what you see, for example, let's open Canva for the example, that you have some kind of magic. It's called Magic Studio. Of course, it costs extra. That can do quite a lot of things for you. Magic Design, for example, can generate entire designs for you with the click of a button, which you can see up here, which might be super helpful for you if you of course, you have limited control of how the design will look like, but if you say, okay, you want something that just has a common language, a common design language, and look professional, then this is insanely quick how you can do that. Same with Magic Switch. It allows you to go way further with your content by transforming content, transforming languages, formatting languages, doing things like that. And so many other tools. For example, it's a very popular tool for removing backgrounds, which is working super well, or editing some icons, copying and clipping images. That's all you can do in this tool. And if you have ever been to Canva, maybe let's look at Canva for one single moment. It's basically a tool for everything that you might need in early business design. So you can have you can edit videos, mostly short videos, photos, you can make your business cards, you can do t-shirts if that is something you want to have, presentations, stories, flyers. So it's very unlimited what you can do in terms of content that you can produce. Of course, always with the cost. That is always a cost that you have with these tools. The easier they are to use, the less control you really have of the outcome. But then again, if you want to get going quickly, with this you can get very close to a professional design agency or something like, not very close, but you can get in the same regions without having to spend a lot of money and spending any time. Yes, so it works. You can integrate it very easily with a lot of tools, and Canva also has a lot of what they do really well is their UX engineering. So they are very intuitive and integrate with the workflows that you might have. Also, you can natively upload it to Instagram if you build your story there. You can natively upload your short videos to Facebook, to YouTube. So there's a lot of things. Also the PowerPoint, of course, it's true. Adobe Express does very much the same thing. We don't have to go through that. Also, when you pick tools, my general take on this is just pick one and stay with it, and don't benchmark tools all the time. This is maybe a thing that I do with a technical background, and that I see a lot of engineers doing, that they ever benchmarking all the newest tools and never really using one. I think that's not really helpful. So Adobe Express or Canva, just use one of them. It doesn't really matter. You will not be perfect in either one. It's just one tool to get you started. And the important thing, if we are going again through the lens of entrepreneurship, is to get you in front of customers and not winning you a prize for the best corporate design. Adobe Firefly, we quickly talked about this. The nice thing about Firefly is that it's already in the Adobe products, and we were already saying that the nice thing about the Firefly AI is that the content produced is trained on content that has no problems with the licensing, so they have the licenses for all the content they trained on. Thus, it's particularly good if you're more in the corporate world and need to have something that is 100% safe and cannot be attacked as easily. But probably you will tell me the exact opposite, that you can attack everything in a moment. And Leonardo is also a very feature-heavy tool. You should definitely take a look. It will look super overwhelming at the moment, or in the first glance. So when it came out, it was quite a big thing, because it had so many tools. For example, what you have here on the top left, you can just doodle something, and on the right hand side it will create you something in a style that you pick and choose, that might go a little bit in the direction of just create me something that I want. You can see that the output still is very not true to what I want. I can see that it's a kind of a mug. but it looks so different in so many details. But it's a cool thing. So you just doodle what you want to have, and you get it. It can also do some animations. Of course, the animations are also not very perfect. But again, to get something nice and to get it from the start, I think Leonardo can be quite strong. And in all those tools, you're usually able to download and to export the assets and continue working with them in the tool stack that you want to have. We also wanted to mention Tome, because Tome is trying to solve the big problem that we have, which I personally don't get why it's so hard, that there's still no AI that builds nice presentations. And Tome is one of the AIs that tries to build presentations. It does that also quite nice, as long as it's a quite standard presentation. So if you say you want an investor pitch deck, you will get a nice investor pitch deck. However, in the style of the Tome presentation style. So if you say you have already a very established language of pitch deck and already very established components, because you may be raising a Series A, so you already have a funding round, or you're building a follow-up on something that you have. This might be a little bit limited for what you do. However, if you just say, okay, please, in the upper build, please create a pitch deck for me, because I need to show this for a hackathon or anything, then I would definitely recommend you do that. On a hackathon, you should not waste time on building the presentation, but building the product. And it does that in a few clicks for you. Also with sales or marketing materials, which is also very helpful if you do not know exactly your value proposition and you have to try it out in a lot of different potential value propositions. Then of course you want to iterate on your sales and marketing material quite a little bit. And instead of wasting 4 hours on building new slides for new marketing material, why not do it like this? Build 3 different presentation decks on one day and just see what sticks with the customers. Same of course goes for online, or this is still the offline thing. How this works. Also with visuals, it auto-generates all these visuals, which has the pros and cons of generation of visuals. I, for example, have no idea what this should represent, but it looks nice. It's future of personal care. I have no idea how I would use this for personal care, but it's quite a good start if we really want to get something done. Question.
Regarding the presentation, have you worked with the Copilot?
Yes.
Because I've tried it and it did not bring so nice results, so I'm looking forward to the
Yes, so I've used the Microsoft Copilot for Office. Let's be open, I was super disappointed. I think in all the tools I used it, Excel, Word and PowerPoint, the results were super underwhelming, way worse than I would have just with GPT-4. So yes, I'm definitely with you there. In PowerPoint, for example, it could not even write nice bullet points or action titles. So this might be something that works better for you than still try it out. It also has a free trial. You will see that it's not perfect. I'm also not aware if you can download it to PowerPoint and continue working on this there, but it's probably getting you something that is a way better start than you would have otherwise. For me, for example, I like workflows where I can reiterate on something rather than building something from scratch. And if this already gives me like 20 slides that I can use as a starting point for me to continue working with, then this of course is fantastic for me. So yeah, here we have more. And then probably the most important of them all is building a website. Building a website used to take quite a long time. Now, of course, it's super fast. You can create your personal website by just publishing your Notion page to the web, which is probably the simplest way to have a personal website whatsoever. But now you can also do the same thing with more complex websites. Let's say like this, because you have a wireframe and you want to build something. When GPT-4 came out, I think some of you can remember this use case they showed. They had a doodle scratch of something that they wanted to build on the website, and they just showed it to GPT-4 and said, create me a website of this. And this perfectly works. It might not be the smartest approach because it will only hard code you something, so there will not be no functionality to this. You will only have the front end that you can put something, so it's only one slide of HTML. The CSS will be squeezed into the HTML, which of course you can inline embed CSS, but it's not nice to maintain CSS. But it still works. So if you have one view that you just need to get done, or one header or one element that you need to get done, then this is a wonderful way of creating something from wireframes that you draw up in a couple of seconds. So in the GPT vision that they did in online, they put it on a napkin. And the result was basically that it shows you, sorry, I'm showing there, I need to show it there. It creates from you, showing it this picture, it says, okay, it probably should have a header, it should have promotion, it should have a content section, and writes you the entire HTML, including JavaScript, including everything for you. And the output is this website that you can render like this on your machine. You can put this online. Of course, again, this is now nice because it's a matter of seconds to a full website that's custom code, but also it's hard coded. So the pre-order button, of course, has no functionality. There is no responsiveness to this, so it will always look like this no matter the view port size. And it has no functionality in terms of tracking, in terms of analytics, and in terms of any of that. So it's very cool if you just needed to have a little bit higher fidelity to show it to customers, that they know what we're talking about, but it's not something that you would use for productive work. Also, it's very cool to impress your friends that you said, look, I just created a website. So let's do it a little bit in a little bit smarter way. First, one thing you can do is one thing I will show you in the micro class for prototyping is that one thing you will want to use for front end is a thing called Flutterflow. And you can, for example, ask it, please give me the Flutterflow code to make this work. And then it might help you with that. And then you have it already in a framework that you wanted to use. Another thing might be, or the general idea is that we would probably want to use frameworks or no-code or low-code tools to build our websites. Why? Because it is adaptable, it stays a little bit flexible, it has the functionality that we need, it has analytics that we need. In particular, in early stages, of course, we need to track every visitor to learn, is the visitor interested in what we have to offer, or did he come here by accident? Is he leaving again? What did we make wrong? So one potential we can do, for example, is with Reloom. Reloom is an AI website builder that we can give it just some simple prompts, and it will create the entire website for us. It's not really that cheap. There are cheaper options as well. That again, the cheaper you go, the simpler you go. For example, there's Mixo.io. Mixo, you just literally put one line of prompt, and it will create a landing page for you, including everything, including visuals and stuff. They look very generic, but if you're just looking for a landing page to use immediately, then Mixo might be a nice thing to look at. Otherwise, then a SaaS product for $32 a month that takes away so much work from you is probably worth the money. No, they don't. Though, so for a lot of the imprint stuff, there are free tools also on there. In particular, if there's not too much going on your website, that's not too hard to do. If not going on your website means mostly, if I'm correct, that you don't use too much customer data to track anything. So that's rather something you can take something out of the box. But usually things that you have to think of yourself is legals, is consent, is cookie banners. Those are usually things they all forget. They come from California, where they also need a cookie banner, but still they, for some reason, this is something that they just put on your shoulders and say, not my problem. So how does this work? So in this, there are also other tools. Again, the tool selection is not the most important. Just pick one tool. You basically get the sitemap, and in the sitemap you say what do you want to see on what site, and you give a simple prompt, one singular prompt here on the right-hand side, and it will create the site for you. It will create a sitemap for you, and it will create the entire wireframe for you. All the elements that we see here are put there by an AI, and you can use these AI created sites now for your real website. You can also put it live, and yeah, just work with it in a couple of seconds. You might know the same workflow with other tools that you use, for example Figma, where of course you have the full control, but it takes forever. So, looks quite nice. Experience of the future of home automation. You can of course adapt that, but then with that you already have done most of the designer's part of the job. Now we can use that all into Figma, make it a little bit more of our own, adapt the CI, adapt some of the colors, and make this really perfect. Again, I'm not sure if you need this so perfect in the beginning. So in the very early stages, you might get away with a website built with software. You might get up with a website. For example, the website I showed you, the T12S, is just built with software without any of this framework, because it's a super simple website. But then, if you do this with Figma, you will have a very, very professional layout, and this you can directly export into Webflow, and from there you go basically in. This entire Webflow probably takes you like 6 hours in total to get you to a really perfect, really high definition website that you can live with easily for 1 year, probably even longer, with a nice landing page with all the functionality that you want to have. And it's of course the way smarter workflow than just putting something into ChatGPT and hope for the best that the website that you have should work. Again, why is this better? First, because it has systems behind it to track customers, to track content. You can adjust content, you can adjust colors. It's responsive, it's super secure, it's super fast. So it takes a lot away of all the burdens that you don't want into a hard-coded website. Of course, it's not a web app. This is a website. If you want to have a web app, then you will want to go with software or Flutterflow. We will learn about this in the other microclass, but here you can already build the website, and once you do that, until next month, until we have the other microclass, just put in notify me when the app is available, and then 1 month from now the app will be available and all your customers can pay you money finally. Question? Yes.
And what are your opinions on that?
I think Framer is a fantastic tool for, particularly if you want to have it rather easy. This is probably the gold standard of workflows that you might want to do to get a perfect site. With Framer, the sites are a little bit easier, but also easier to generate, of course. Again, they're in particular in this low-code field. there is so many tools, and they're changing all the time. So there's nothing you can really make right or wrong. I personally like as a CMS Webflow, because Webflow is super easy to use and you can adjust a lot, and it has a great community. But really use whatever you're happy with and what you have made good experiences with.
Not because I used Webflow, but recently I've been hearing a lot about frameworks.
Learn it if you want. It does not really matter so much, again, what you take, as long you will have with every single tool I learned so far. I went to the point that I want to throw it out of the window. But this is just the nature of every tool, because you have to make some decisions at some point of usability versus perfectionism. And if you want to have it completely perfect, then you would have to write everything from scratch, which of course takes forever. So for me, it took a long time to get into Webflow, for example. I was using, for a lot of workflows, I was using Wix.com until I finally threw that out of the window, because this is just super annoying. This is really just one of the worst SaaS solutions that you could have. It took me quite a long time to acknowledge that. Okay, and then the last idea I want to give you for this is that there are also specialized tools, of course, like Ideogram that can give you logos. That is an AI specialized on creating icons, on logos, on flat design in general that you might want to use. Of course, there's also nothing wrong with just going on flaticon.com and using the non-AI solutions for that. Just pay the monthly subscription or the one-time subscription and get some good old-fashioned stock material there. But of course, if you say, okay, you want to have your own, then go to a tool like this. AI Colors is another tool that gives you a color palette for your brand. You might know Cula.com. It's an Adobe tool that gives you a color palette. All those small things, choose a color palette, choose a design language, choose a form language, choose a font that makes your brand unique, that makes your brand your own. And then a lot of these stages, AI can really help you. And if you don't know what are the things that you need to make a professional looking site, then of course ask ChatGPT. It will tell you.